Thank you, Trey. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, this is your first time in the Black Media Matters studios.
It is. Last time we were virtual, so now I get a chance to come in and see where the magic happens at.
Yeah. Well, we welcome you. Warm welcome here. And you're always welcome here.
Yes.
Anytime. But we've been keeping our communications with you wide open because you guys are always doing some great work over there at DEEL. And, we have a couple clips later on that we'll share, but tell us about some of this background, because it takes a lot of hard work to get preschool now throughout Seattle. Tell us about that work.
It does. It takes a lot of work to make sure preschool is happening in Seattle. That's why I'm excited to be here, because of just our applications open up now. The Seattle Preschool Program, we're accepting applications for our scholars here in Seattle. And what Seattle Preschool Program is, basically it's high quality early learning for 3 and 4 year olds, and it's about access. For predominantly, it's for the most part it's free, and even some of those families who have higher incomes, there is a sliding scale for those families. But at the end of the day, we want to make sure that each and every one of our 3 and 4 year olds have access to high quality preschool here in Seattle.
The thing is that you're saying high quality, and I know you mean it. I dealt with a preschool program, ECAP, right, in South King County for my sons, right? So both of my sons kind of went through the ECAP program, and I was a student with my first son, and then I was just kind of getting on track for my second son, and so we got to experience some free care. It didn't mean it was high quality though, and I think that's so important when we talk about really closing these gaps in education, because it really starts at the beginning. And my second son in particular really dealt with this white teacher that just did not understand. He learned different. He didn't need an IEP, but that's where they went with it, right? Was, the direct IEP. And it was like when he got with his other teacher who had way more of a multicultural background, she understood even more so. And sometimes it's about the quality of the teacher. And so how have you guys been able to ensure that these, preschool settings are really bringing those kinds of quality teachers into the play?
Well, I'll start off by saying that first, equity is at the front of everything that we do. And as you're talking about high quality, I'm saying talking from everything from professional development, support for our staff, our teachers that are in there, because the teachers are the ones really are the gatekeepers that's doing amazing work. And we want to make sure we support them as best as possible. Excuse me. But you also just mentioned something that I wanted to share, was that just thinking about it from a culturally responsive perspective. Right now, we're expanding to 7 new sites this year. And within those within that expansion, we're actually going to have our first Somali English class. We already have Chinese, we have Vietnamese, we have Spanish, we have American Sign Language, French. So we want to be as responsive as possible for our families, because as you mentioned, high quality is the best, and providing our 3 and 4 year olds with that access to high quality early learning or preschool, it's only going to help them have a stronger academic foundation from the beginning. And research is not only supporting that when our 3 and 4 year olds participate in early learning, that they have academically stronger longevity, but it's also going to help them with their life outcomes as well. So that is very, very important for us.
And rightfully so, because, every time we talk to you, you're talking about the impact for families, right? It's not just about the scholars. It's not just about administration or the instructors and the teachers. It's about the family as a whole. And we do know that there are some direct needs for families that can be met in an educational setting. And so I love that you do that. We also have a clip, because Beacon Hill, it looks like they've opened their doors. Let's go ahead and roll this clip.
Welcome to our Beacon Hill location. My name is Heidi Jensen, and I'm the supervisor here at this site. We are located in the beautiful Beacon Hill neighborhood, very close to Jefferson Park. Many of our families live in the neighborhood. We can participate in the community here, and it's a great site to be at.
Oh, it just warms my heart seeing the young ones and really being in this multicultural setting, which is a great example of our country and the world. You know, we had Dr. Nichols on the other day. And one of the things that he said that really stuck with me was that America has all of these world cultures here, and we literally represent the world. And so we have the opportunity to learn from all of those cultures and do multicultural teamwork that allows us to be that much more creative. So how have you guys really felt that you've been able to do that kind of multicultural, like you're talking about the languages, but it's also reflective in staff. And I think that that's so important when young people see leaders in institutions that look like them. You know, you're talking about equity here. What does that look like through the application process?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And so just think about this. We've been doing Seattle Preschool Program. This is our 8th year doing the Seattle Preschool Program, and over 77% of our students in the Seattle Preschool Program are BIPOC students.
Wow.
And it's just so rewarding to see like these brilliant faces. I was just watching a video with Beacon Hill, the Seattle Preschool Program up on Beacon Hill at Denise Louis. And the other day, I had the privilege of being at one of the sites, and the mayor Harrell, was there, and just showing his excitement and his vision for one Seattle, making sure that each and every one of our scholars in the Seattle Preschool Program has access to high quality early learning. And the sentiment that I heard from him and I felt in his vibe about loving our scholars, has really been something that we have wrapped around with the Seattle Preschool Program. And I say that because equity is at the forefront of everything. We have to make sure that our early learning 3 and 4 year olds have a great start at the beginning, because we know what that will do for their life trajectory. There's something that for the Seattle public schools, there are 77% of the of students in Seattle public schools that's coming from the Seattle Preschool Program are kindergarten ready, and so we have one third of our Black students are coming in at 10% higher than their cohorts. And so it's just an amazing opportunity right now for our scholars, and we want our families to take advantage of it, because we know that this is one Seattle vision. All of our families need to access high quality early learning.
Yeah, all of our and this right here is, I think, a great intentional effort to close that educational gap. I mean, when we talk about numbers tell us what's really going on in our world, and so much of it is stark data that you get to learn from. But then you go, okay, well, where do we fill these gaps? How do we understand, specific metrics that we need to now be looking at even more closely to now create solutions around that? So you guys have really done that. But you not only have done it with the preschool program, I got to ask you about the Seattle Promise. I mean, again, this is something, as I have a child who's about to be a junior next year, right, in high school. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I told him, I said, it gets real serious once you become a junior, because so many different things open up in terms of opportunity to connect at the collegiate level. So tell us about how, give us an update on Seattle Promise, how it's going.
Lots of excitement around the Seattle Promise as well. So Seattle Promise is pretty much free for all Seattle Public High School seniors that graduate from a Seattle Public School. They have access to the Seattle Promise. They can get 2 free years of tuition. And it's so exciting because the deadline just closed March 1st for the Seattle Promise Scholars. We've seen high numbers of increased students applying and being accepted. But the bigger piece is that throughout this pandemic, our scholars took advantage of the necessary support, and they actually persisted at higher national rates than other college promise programs happening in the nation. And we're excited about that. There's an opportunity for our scholars, like we have equity scholarships embedded within the Seattle Promise, and that's ultimately and I saw earlier the commercial about the scholarship.
Yeah.
And when we look at the equity scholarship, what we're trying to do is make sure that for those students who need more, that they get more, and that there's an opportunity for them to have some additional resources to support, whether it's books, whether it's childcare or whatnot. And at the end of the day, we just want to eliminate any barriers that our young kings and queens are having, so they can persist or complete a two-year degree or credential, or even transfer somewhere. And it's something a couple of days ago, I don't know if it was this week or last week, you just have me thinking about is you all were at Renton Technical Institute, right? And that's just something what I think about is like, wouldn't it just be great to have a scholar start off in the Seattle Preschool Program and then get support through K-12, go into the Seattle Promise, and then from there they have opportunities from either transferring to UW, Howard, Grambling, or wherever, or obtaining some type of degree or credential, as you all were highlighting.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly why I love being on this side of it, to be able to showcase the opportunities. And as a mother of two young men, right? For me, I'm like, one day you're going to be grown men, and you're going to have to look at everything that you do that helps you either further yourself or things that you do that hold yourself back. And it's so important that they understand the realm of opportunity. And, for me, I was just such a young, active student, man. I was, vice president of the school. I was president of the National Society of Black Engineers. I was president of a theater troupe. I was just like everywhere, like I am now, right? I mean, it really, and I told my son, I said, high school years are formidable years because they help you establish your study habits, social habits. You already have this friend group that you've grown up with, but really you guys can hold each other accountable in that friend group. I mean, he's been on the same AAU team since second grade. And so he's like, Mom, those are not my friends. Those are my brothers. And they really carry each other forward. They're checking each other's grades. They're holding each other accountable. I said, that's exactly what you need to help you further yourself in life. And so I love that this Seattle Promise gives that leg up for these students that are really ready to take on the challenge of the 2-year and figure out what they want to do afterwards. And while we were at Renton Technical College, one of the things I appreciated so much was the passion of the people involved in the school. And I got you here, and I feel like every time it's been video linked. So this is so great that you're here because your passion shows through. Tell us about some of the reasons why you take this on, not just as a career or a job, but really centering the families. And for you, what pushed you through to say, man, this is how I'm going to make my mark?
That's a great question. And I'll just tell you, so this is, if my mom is watching this, she's probably going to be upset that I'm saying this, but this is like my mom's maybe 40th or 42nd year of teaching. And watching my mom as a kid push me, my dad pushed me, and watching her love for students and families and seeing how important that they said education is. And then just my lived experience and making sure that I did my best. I want to make sure that other people that look like me or even those that don't can see how important education is, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure, I feel like it's our duty, especially here in Seattle, to make sure that each and every kid has an opportunity to chase whatever dream it is that they want to chase. Mm-hmm. Before you arrived earlier, Solomon and I was just talking about, and he was telling me about his journey here. And he said that Solomon said that his family, his uncle moved here in the 70s. And we were talking about how his uncle communicated back to families was back then they would record a tape, you speak and you have a tape, you record yourself and you mail it back. And now we're into this metaverse, which you want to, we'll talk about the metaverse, but I say that to say that things have changed so much. And for me, it wouldn't be right that if I didn't take my best foot forward to make sure each and every kid had an opportunity to chase whatever dream it is that they want to do at the end of the day. So that's just what I'm committed to. It shows up in our work. It shows up in what research says about access to early learning. Access to early learning gives you that early academic foundation, and it's proven if you have that academic foundation, you'll be more successful in life. And we just want to make sure that that's happened from early learning, or should I say from preschool, all the way through post-secondary. So our brilliant scholars can come up and start their own companies. They can do whatever it is that they have that they're passionate about. So this work, for me, it's not something that I learned about in a book. It's just something that's always been embedded within, how I grew up.
Well, it's so evident. It is so, and I got to tell you, it's also very refreshing because we also really deal with, and it's just real. I've seen it play out time and time again, where we talk about it in politics, right? And I see it in education. I see it in different sectors of our economy, but people taking on jobs because it's the title that they really need to further their career. And it's not so much about the job itself, and it's not so much about the impact that they have the ability to impart on their staff and on the institution as a whole, but it's really about this kind of climbing the ladder that is a bit superficial. And whether they are producing positive results or not, it's really about the next title up, So I just really appreciate your authenticity with the role that you have. It's a huge, huge responsibility, for you. And really, you're taking it on with a great, great candor and a great, great lens, I think, and the aesthetic of how you move. And so, we hear nothing but great things about you. I talk to Dr. Mims all the time about our educational institution, and she raves about you as well. So it's just great to know that not only is a Black man doing something phenomenal for our students, but you're doing it with a passion that really shines through. And it's so appreciated. If nothing more, it's definitely appreciated. Make sure people know about this application. Where can they get it? It's open now for preschool. I want to make sure we put that out there. Somebody can put the clip back up about the application process.
Yeah. So for one, thank you for the accolades. And the reality is that I am just surrounded by many amazing individuals, from people who are processing grants and contracts, from the coaches that are working with our providers that are providing the services, to the amazing community-based organizations and our partners at Seattle Public Schools that's really providing a service that's second to none. So it's less about me, but thank you for that. And I just want to just share with the families that now is the time. Our applications are open. We need to make sure that you're taking advantage of applying for the Seattle Preschool Program. There it is on the screen right there. Is www.seattle.gov/apply. Please call us up. Get on the website. You can look at the visual map to find out where the nearest Seattle preschool facility is to you. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that your child has the necessary access and opportunities to pursue whatever their dreams are. And they have to do it by stepping into the Seattle Preschool Program. And I wanted to just also say that, as our Mayor Harrell says, one vision for one Seattle. This is the first step, or the way that we're taking that one vision is making sure that each and every family has access to the Seattle Preschool Program.
We've talked about this one Seattle message, and it's going to take everybody. It really is. It's going to take a whole host of us to really dive in. It can't just be something that Mayor Harrell is doing with his administration alone. And when you talk about all of the people that are involved, thank you for shouting them out, because you're here really representing this entire cohort behind you. and beside you that is doing this work along with you. And one thing I got to say before I let you go is I just love the fact, I'll be honest, it was not easy for me to get my HBCU credits transferred back into, Seattle colleges when I had to come back after Howard, or for there to be this easy transference. So shout out to everybody who worked on that to say, look, if you got your 2 years here, they're accepting those credits over there. We need more of our young Black scholars in particular to understand the benefit of HBCUs and to break down those barriers. So I have you here. I have to say a huge shout out because I keep on trying to edge my son. I'm telling you, I'm going to have to take him on some tours, get him to understand, it's a different environment. And particularly here when we grow up in Washington, where we're a small part of the population, I think it's important for them to understand that that's an option for them too. So a shout out for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for being with me and giving us a little bit more of your passion and sharing with us this opportunity for the preschool program. Applications are open. We appreciate you being here.
I appreciate the opportunity, and thank you for what you all do. We appreciate this platform, and it is an honor to be here and continue to do the great work that you're doing for the community.
Thank you so much. Director Chappelle said him and his wife be watching Black Love. I'm with it. I'm so with it. Thank you.